to each and everybody. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. I do hope all of you are staying safe, staying healthy, most importantly, are enjoying life to the fullest. Yes, guys, we are here once again. Of course, this particular channel that we are going to watch is, comes highly requested. I love that you now kind of tell me which channels or which videos I should be watching, because most of the time, for some reason, I don't know, I end up watching not the legit ones. So yes, right now this comes highly requested, the channel, of course, and this is none other than Ellie from Russia. Guys, I'm not so sure if we've seen something in a day's life of somebody's living in one of the coldest places on earth and stuff like that, but nothing the regular Russians way of living. And that I am so intrigued. I am so I am so curious as to how will that how that looks like. And here we are with Ellie from Russia's video, which caters just that. She's going to tour us on her apartment, and I can't wait to see it. And guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear if if this is the usual apartment or usual home or house looks like, or a single person living conditions looks like, or anything to that extent, if it is a common occurrence or not. I just want to know. I want to know more about you all. So come on, tell me which videos should I be watching, with regards to that. But hey, Ellie from Russia, I do hope they don't mind us reacting to this one. But anyhow, guys, please do not forget to support her YouTube account, which I will be linking on the description box below, as well as the link of this particular video. And I urge you all to please go ahead and watch this video on her channel as well. So guys, spread love, spread positivity, say no to hate. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. 1, 2, 3, let's see this. Come on.
Привет. Welcome to my Russian apartment tour. For the last year, when I didn't travel, I stayed in Moscow, and today I will take you inside my humble housing named Khrushchevka. I will explain you the story behind grey Soviet blocks and why Russia is full of them, and I will show you how most of the Russians really live. But before we step inside, let's take a walk around my neighborhood.
Okay, that's nice. All right, that's nice. I love she's really letting us immerse as to how it is in living in
Not
such
all
place.
parts of Moscow are impressive like the Red Square. In fact, there are many neighborhoods like mine, characterized by typical Soviet-era residential buildings. By the way, all these buildings have their own story, from when they were built to their unique features.
Ooh,
Almost
that's
every
what I love
Soviet leader
about
tried to solve the housing issue. That's why these buildings are named after the leaders that built them. Stalinka, Khrushchevka,
Makes a lot of sense.
Brezhnevka, and Putinka. Wait, Putinka is actually a vodka brand. This is our courtyard, and around it you can see all types of these buildings. So, for example,
Ooh, it's quite gloomy.
Меня снимай! Меня Wait. Let's start with this one. These buildings are known for their monumentality, luxury, architectural elements, design. They were primarily intended for the Soviet elites. Have you already guessed what Soviet leader built this one? Of course, this is Stalinka. Stalinkas were constructed from the late 1930s to the late 1950s. Under Stalin's rule, the country began to rapidly industrialize, and it was necessary to provide everyone moving to cities with housing. So, mass construction of Stalinkas began. Inside the building, there are spacious entrances and halls,
Wow,
3 to 4 meter high ceilings, and spacious rooms.
Pillars, my
Stalinist
gosh.
buildings are still considered to be elite houses. Khrushchevkas, on the other hand, were the answer to the housing crisis following the World War II, when it was necessary to rebuild the country. The grey blocks were rapidly constructed mainly from the late 1950s up to 1980s, offering a fast and economical solution to the shortage of housing. So, unlike Stalinkas, they were very compact and cheap and simple to build. Alright, let's go inside my Khrushchevka. Wait, are you subscribed to my channel?
Please,
it's
guys,
a very
subscribe.
private space, so only people who are subscribed can come in.
I love her sense of humor.
Now we are
oh my
in
gosh.
Podъезд. Podъезd is a Russian term that refers to the entrance of the house or the lobby. I live on the 4th floor, there is no elevator here, and that's why most of the Khrushchevkas have 5 floors. Because according to the Soviet standards, if the building has more than 5 floors,
it is required.
you have to build an elevator, and that would increase the cost of construction too much. Extra security. Добро пожаловать. This is my apartment that I rent from one Moscow babushka with my roommate Dasha.
Hello! Long time no see.
Dasha is a typical person from Siberia that came to Moscow to make some money and to find success. How is it going so far?
It's going well. I'm really making money because difference of salary in Moscow and in Siberia is huge. I'm building a career and I even found love here.
Where do you like lifestyle more? In Irkutsk, Siberia or Moscow?
That's a hard question for me because like in Moscow you can find everything you want, but in Siberia there is my family
and there will always be
friends,
no place like home.
A nature that I love so much, Baikal Lake, and still like Moscow for me sounds like city for money, but Siberia is for my soul.
Now let me show you around. This is a one-room apartment. We're in the living room. Typical sounds of the Soviet apartment. Of course, there is a cupboard showcasing the best of the tableware. It's a must-have in a Soviet apartment. And a small library consisting of very big books of the Russian classical literature. And this is a balcony. In Soviet Khrushchevkas like this, people usually put lots of stuff that they don't need on the balcony in the hope that they will use it someday in the future.
It's like a stock storage, like it's like a stock room
of old furniture and lots of stuff. So it's not like, for example, somewhere in Italy when it's a nice balcony and people are drinking coffee. Also, it's quite chilly here for coffee.
It's basically like,
welcome to the kitchen. Kitchens in Soviet Khrushchevkas are very small. Here is the space for cooking. Here's the space for eating. And don't pay attention to this, we are trying to recycle. Khrushchevkas are very compact. They had to be built very fast, and initially they were meant as temporary housing solutions. Authorities plan to replace them with more comfortable houses in the future after the rise of the Soviet Union and communism. That's why they were small and built with minimal costs for building materials due to shortages in the post-war Soviet Union.
I love that she has a story behind all of this. This is very well, documented, very well filmed.
Несколько шагов за солью, от плиты к плите складываются километры. Для того, чтобы приготовить борщ, оказывается, надо пройти 500 шагов. Ученые хотят избавить вас от лишних движений и размещают оборудование кухни более рационально.
And in all Khrushchevkas there is such windows between a kitchen and a bathroom.
Why?
You probably wonder, why do we need it? Of course, a Soviet person was always under surveillance of the Communist Party, and they always need to check what media you are reading, what newspapers you are reading. Even in the bathroom, the big brother is always watching you. What else is here? Actually, I never paid attention to this, but now I see that there is this door.
I think that's where like electrical something is. Ooh. I think it's like more or less where like, you know, the electrical stuffs are, or a storage.
What I saw there is not information for everyone. As I said, Hrushchevkas are very compact, and basically the apartment tour is over. Hrushchevkas, just like this one, were built all over the country until 1960s to provide as many citizens with an apartment as possible, and many families were very happy to receive apartments like this and not to live in a communal housing, to have their own bathroom, to own their own apartment. And from mid-1960s, it was when Brezhnev came in power. And he decided to build an improved version of Hrushchevkas, Brezhnevkas. The population started to complain about the Khrushchev buildings because of small areas, small kitchen, thin wall, lack of elevators. So Brezhnevkas had larger kitchens, trash chutes, elevators, as they usually had up to 16 floors. And apartments overall were wider compared to Hrushchevkas. Such buildings were built until the end of the 1990s.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, I wish like, our government also kind of like thinks of the same thing, because unfortunately, as much as I don't want to admit it, but yes, there are a lot of really like homeless people like living in like really poor conditions, and it's sad. And to have this kind of solution, I think
the new buildings that are built in Russia now usually look like the one behind me. Huge residential complexes with so many apartments inside of one building like this. Modern and spacious apartments, but actually I'm not sure I would like to buy an apartment in a building like this. It's just buildings like this remind me an ant house, and people there are so small, like ants. So many people in this huge building. I think I would have depression if I lived there and feel like in utopia or something, but I'm not sure. They have very modern apartments, and now I'm in a period of my life when I need to decide where I would like to own a property, but I still haven't decided if I want to settle in Moscow or some other city of Russia. There is lots of advantages of living in Moscow, but also disadvantages.
Just like in any other place.
Deciding where I'm gonna settle. So let's sum up all types of residential buildings in Russia.
I love how she does this.
were constructed during the industrialization period. They are very monumental and have a beautiful architecture. Then Hrushchevkas were built to address the post-World War II housing crisis. So these buildings were only about functionality and minimalism. And then Brezhnevkas came, which are like an upgraded version of Hrushchevkas. And modern buildings reflect the demand for more comfortable living conditions. Some people might say that post-Soviet countries look depressing because of these gray, ugly panels, but these buildings provided homes for millions of people. This is not an example of beautiful architecture, of course, but in a country where housing shortages were once a reality, having a roof over your head was a luxury in itself. This was a small tour of my Hrushchevka and explanation of Russia's great buildings. Share your opinion. Do you think these buildings look very depressing? And could you live in one of these buildings?
Definitely.
Like this Hrushchevka. As for me, yes, this is not perfect. It's a very small apartment. But right now I am very happy to live here in Moscow for this price. It's very cheap, with a nice roommate and in this quiet and green area of the city, and this place gives me an opportunity to do all my hobbies, so nice. And I can reach places that I need by walking, which is a luxury for a big city like Moscow. Also, metro is just 10 minutes walk. I will not live here forever, of course, but for this particular period of my life, it's perfect. Every day that I'm here, I'm happy, honestly. Even though the capitalist, consumerist world keeps reminding every day that you need a bigger apartment, and when you have that bigger apartment, you need a more luxurious apartment, and only then you will be happy.
It's an endless cycle.
But don't fall into this trap. That's it from me. Let me know if you already knew the information from my video before, or what things that I mentioned you found interesting, what surprised you the most. And Thank you for joining me on this journey through Soviet era living. Пока-пока. See you soon.
Paka-paka. Oh, I learned something new. Paka-paka. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh. Ooh, I love that I've learned something new, right? as if it's such a biggie, right? What I can really say about this video and Ellie in particular, although this is my very first time to be watching anything from her, it's the amount of study or research she did prior to putting up this video, and really being very informative towards her audiences, and at the same time she makes it like so very casually. She sounds so very casual. It makes me think like if ever if I can turn back time and I can choose a teacher, I'd love her to be my teacher, because you know what, she very well explains everything, that it's easy for the listeners to truly grasp, to truly understand what she's trying to point out. And I think that this style or the way she presents this particular video is very well done. I mean, kudos to Ellie. I do hope, guys, please do support her, okay? Please go to her account, like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And yes, talking about the things that she also mentioned here, like, you know what, of course we want comfort, right? But once we achieve that certain dream, or I don't really need anything, I just want a roof over my head and that's it. But then once you have that, maybe I want a little bigger because this is so cramped, this is so tight, and blah blah blah. So after that, maybe I want something fancy, something it's an endless cycle. And I know it's only natural for human beings to really try to experience comfort, try to experience something like a lot of people you see, especially now that the social media is crazy about all of those pictures, which I think that it's so not true, because most of the time they're just projecting the good side of how they live, and for all we know, it may not be their true situation, so let's not just get carried away by what we are seeing or what we are hearing from others, really, because at the end of it all, for as long as we are happy, for as long as we are content, no amount of luxury, no amount of comfort can really compensate, can really buy that happiness, because it always comes from within. If you feel that I don't need all of that, I'm just happy where I'm at right now, and that's something that truly a lot of people do aspire to achieve. Because it's maybe natural for us to feel a certain type of greed, that we want something again and again. But hey, I'm not really too sure. But at the same time, if we don't have these ambitions, if we don't have these aspirations, life will be so boring, right? If we don't strive to have a better future, to have this and that, then life will be there's no point in striving to better ourselves and whatnots. But yeah, it's there's it's a double-edged sword. There's a pros, cons, and all of that. But let's just go on with life where we can afford it. Otherwise, let's work hard if we want more. And then once we work hard and have the means to progress, and then by all means you can do so, for as long as you are doing it with dignity, with honesty, and not hurting nobody, then go ahead, go for it. At the end of it all, it's your hard work, and you deserve to spend it however you want to. Yes, guys. And also, I do appreciate as well, there's names for these buildings, and the purpose for them to be building such and such at a certain time, and it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense why such thing existed and all that. That is very informative, what she said right there, and it's great to hear that it is for a reason. And yeah, one thing that I don't also quite understand, or I'm curious about really, is are these like apartments, are these like spaces given during that time? Where these places given, or you loan it, or you have to like, you know, give a certain amount every month or something to that extent? Because what we do have here, if our government, you know, gives like you know, some housing projects and all that, we don't have to pay a lot, but then we still have to pay for it. You know, there was never a time it was given for free, like, you know, no, there was never a time. So it's either like, you know, you loan it from another bank, or, you know, your social security or anything like that. And yeah, although it's not being sold like at a higher price. I mean, there's no, quote unquote, there's no what's this? There's no earnings whatsoever. It's just like they're pricing it at cost. That's what I think. I'm not too sure though. So I'm wondering if that's the same with your country. Please do tell me. And if there's anything that I missed, please do point that out. And once again, you all, I super did enjoy this. This is very, very, very educational. I love this. I want to hear more of her. I am inclined to watch all of her videos if she doesn't mind, really, because she is such a great storyteller. And yeah, what should I be reacting next? Write it down, please, in the comments section below. And with that, I hope you did enjoy this as much as I did. And I do hope to see you all next time. For the meantime, please do take care. Пока-пока. Спасибо.